Most people don't know this, but across 9 seasons on the Pacific, the Love Boat welcomed actors who would go on to become some of the biggest names in the world. Future Oscar winners, sitcom icons, and global legends all walked its decks before they were famous. So all aboard, because we're about to set sail through TV history in the making. Check out these incredible Love Boat guest stars and where they are today. Tom Hanks. Before he became one of Hollywood's most beloved actors, Tom Hanks stepped aboard the Love Boat for what would become his very first television appearance. In 1980, at just 24 years old, he played Rick Martin, a goofy fraternity buddy of Gophers, in the episode Sergeant Bull Friends and Lovers Miss Mother. The timing was extraordinary. The episode aired only a month before the premiere of Bosom Buddies, the sitcom that would make Hanks a star. So while he had already landed the role, the Love Boat gave audiences their very first glimpse of him on TV. From there, his rise was meteoric. He won back-to-back Oscars for Philadelphia and Forrest Gump, delivered unforgettable performances in Saving Private Ryan and The Green Mile, and gave his voice to Woody in Toy Story. Today, at 69, Hanks still commands the screen, most recently in the drama Here. Kathy Bates. Long before she terrified audiences in Misery, Kathy Bates took a light-hearted turn on the Love Boat. In 1980, at 32 years old, she appeared as Joyce Anderson in the episode Take a Letter, Vicky, The Floating Bridge Game, The Joy of Celibacy. At the time, Bates was still a theater-trained actress searching for her big break, and this guest spot was one of her earliest television credits. It would be another decade before she became a household name, winning the Academy Award for Misery, and following it with Fried Green Tomatoes, Dolores Claiborne, and Titanic. On television, she carved out an equally impressive career with 6 Feet Under, 2.5 Men, and American Horror Story. Now 77, she remains a powerhouse, most recently appearing in The Morning Show. Billy Crystal. When Billy Crystal boarded the Love Boat in 1980, he was already known to some audiences for his role on the sitcom Soap, where he played Jody Dallas. On The Pacific Princess, he played Newton Weems in the episode Another Time, Another Place, Doctor Who, Gopher's Engagement. The role wasn't a career milestone, more of a lighthearted pit stop. But in hindsight, it's fascinating to see him in such a small part before superstardom hit. Within a few years, Crystal became a fixture on Saturday Night Live, then headlined When Harry Met Sally and City Slickers, and later gave his voice to Mike Wazowski in Monsters, Inc. He also became the face of the Academy Awards, hosting the show 9 times. Today, at 77, Crystal still performs on stage and screen, his Love Boat cameo a quirky reminder of just how many icons once sailed the Pacific Princess. Michael J. Fox. In 1983, at only 21, Michael J. Fox appeared on The Love Boat in the episode Abby's Maiden Voyage, He Ain't Heavy, I Like to Be in America. He played Jimmy Cowens, a recent graduate whose adoptive parents surprise him with a cruise. At the time, Fox was just beginning to gain attention on Family Ties. Within 2 years, he rocketed to worldwide fame as Marty McFly in Back to the Future. From there, he became one of the defining stars of the 80s and 90s, winning Emmys, starring in hit films, and later leading Spin City. Beyond acting, his openness about Parkinson's disease and the creation of the Michael J. Fox Foundation turned him into a symbol of resilience. Today, at 64, his recent documentary Still reminded audiences why his story continues to inspire. Courtney Cox. Before Friends made her a household name, Courtney Cox appeared on The Love Boat in 1986 in the episode Daredevil, Picture Me a Spy, Sleeper. At just 22, she played Carol, a young passenger caught up in one of the ship's lighthearted romances. At the time, Cox was still hustling for work, taking modeling jobs and small TV roles. Within a few years, she joined Family Ties, and not long after, she became the world's most famous roommate as Monica Geller on Friends. On the big screen, she anchored the Scream franchise as Gale Weathers, and later proved her staying power by producing and starring in Cougar Town. Today, at 61, she remains one of television's most recognizable faces, recently returning in Scream 7. David Hasselhoff. Before he became the world's most famous lifeguard on Baywatch, David Hasselhoff appeared on The Love Boat in 1983 in the episode The Captain's Replacement, Sly as a Fox, Here Comes the Bride. At 31, he played Brian, a romantic passenger, just as his career was beginning to take off. That same year, Hasselhoff landed the role of Michael Knight on Knight Rider, which made him a household name. By the late 80s, he was Mitch Buchanan on Baywatch, leading what became the most watched TV show in the world. Alongside acting, he topped music charts in Europe and leaned into his cult status with cameos in films like Sharknado. Now 73, the Hoff is still performing, most recently starring in the German series Z Network. Shelley Long. 2 years before she became Diane Chambers on Cheers, Shelley Long appeared on The Love Boat in 1982 in the episode The Love Boat Follies, My Ex-Mom, The Show Must Go On. At 32, she played Heather Mackenzie, showcasing the same blend of wit and warmth that would soon win her an Emmy and a Golden Globe. Soon after, Long's star soared on Cheers, and she went on to headline films like The Money Pit opposite Tom Hanks and Troop Beverly Hills. In later years, she returned to sitcoms with memorable guest roles on Modern Family. At 76, she remains one of television's most beloved comedy figures. Linda Blair. Best known for The Exorcist, Linda Blair showed a lighter side on The Love Boat in 1982 in the episode The Expedition, Julie's Wedding, The Mongala, Julie's Replacement. She was 23 when she played Muffy, a comedic passenger. After her cruise ship cameo, Blair starred in cult favorites like Hell Night and Savage Streets, before shifting her focus to animal welfare. She went on to found the Linda Blair World Heart Foundation, dedicating herself to animal rescue and advocacy. Today, at 66, she continues to be a beloved figure at horror conventions worldwide. Corey Feldman. In 1985, 14-year-old Corey Feldman guest starred on The Love Boat in the episode Hidden Treasure, Picture from the Past, Ace's Salary, playing Charlie, a hyperactive kid with boundless energy. By that time, Feldman had already broken out with The Goonies, which premiered a few months earlier in June of 1985. He soon cemented his teen idol status with Stand By Me and The Lost Boys, becoming one of the decade's most recognizable young stars. In later years, he wrote his memoir Choreography, toured with his band, and leaned into his cult following. Today, at 54, Feldman remains a pop culture survivor, still performing and connecting with fans who grew up on his films. Heather Locklear. At 21, Heather Locklear boarded The Love Boat in 1983 in the episode Aquaphobic, Humpty Dumpty, The Star Maker. She played Patty, a passenger in a romantic subplot. Soon after, she became a primetime staple with major roles on Dynasty and T.J. Hooker. In the 90s, she found even greater fame on Melrose Place, earning multiple Golden Globe nominations, and later starred in Spin City alongside Michael J. Fox. Today, at 63, she remains active in television, most recently starring in Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. Tony Danza. Fresh off Taxi, Tony Danza guest starred on The Love Boat in 1984 in the episode Only the Good Die Young, Honey Beats the Odds, The Light of Another Day. At 32, he played Bud O'Hara, a charming passenger with his signature charisma. The timing was perfect. Just a year later, Danza would headline Who's the Boss?, cementing himself as one of television's favorite sitcom dads. Over the years, he's showcased his talents on Broadway, appeared in films like Don John, and even returned in And Just Like That. At 74, Danza remains a performer who bridges generations. John Ritter. Comedy legend John Ritter appeared on The Love Boat in 1982 in the episode Hollywood Royalty, The Caper, The Eyes of Love, Masquerade Part 2. Then 33, Ritter was already a household name thanks to Three's Company, where his slapstick timing made him one of TV's biggest stars. His guest role aboard the Pacific Princess showed the same warmth and humor that audiences adored. He later starred in family comedies like Problem Child and returned to primetime with 8 Simple Rules. Ritter's sudden passing in 2003 at the age of 54 left fans devastated, but his legacy as one of television's great comic actors lives on. Jamie Lee Curtis. Already making waves as Hollywood's scream queen, Jamie Lee Curtis appeared on The Love Boat in 1982 at age 23. She played Linda in the episode The Love Boat Follies, My Ex-Mom, The Show Must Go On. Her career was already gathering steam with hits like Halloween, but after her Love Boat appearance, she soared further with Trading Places and A Fish Called Wanda. Decades later, she reached a career peak with an Oscar win for Everything Everywhere All at Once. At 66, Curtis continues to thrive, balancing horror classics with family favorites like Freaky Friday 2. Tim Robbins. Before Bull Durham and The Shawshank Redemption, a 25-year-old Tim Robbins appeared on The Love Boat in 1985. In the episode The Last Case, Looking for Mr. Wilson, Love on Strike, credited simply as a young man, Robbins was still unknown, but his talent was undeniable. Within a few years, he would rise with Bull Durham, Jacob's Ladder, and eventually win an Oscar for Mystic River. Behind the camera, he directed Dead Man Walking to critical acclaim. Now 66, Robbins continues to act and direct, recently appearing in the sci-fi series Silo. Kristy McNichol. At just 18, Kristy McNichol joined The Love Boat in 1980 in the episode The Brotherhood of the Sea, Letter to Baby Cake's Daddy's Pride. She played Linda Morley, a young passenger navigating romance. Already acclaimed for her role on Family, she soon starred in Little Darlings. Though she retired from acting in the 90s, she has since dedicated her life to teaching and mental health advocacy. Today, at 63, McNichol is remembered not only as a teen idol, but as a groundbreaking TV star. Melissa Sue Anderson. Best known as Mary Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie, Melissa Sue Anderson appeared on The Love Boat in 1980 in the episode Captain's Triangle Boomerang, Out of This World. She was 18, playing Dana, a passenger caught in romance. It was a transitional role as she moved from child star to adult actress. Afterward, she earned an Emmy nomination, starred in TV movies, and wrote her memoir, The Way I See It. Now 62, Anderson remains a beloved figure in classic television history. Melissa Gilbert. At 17, Melissa Gilbert guest starred on The Love Boat in 1981 in the episode The Fashion Show, A Model Marriage, This Year's Model, Original Sin. Already famous as Laura Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie, she played Rosemary Simpson, a young passenger finding her own way. Gilbert later became president of the Screen Actors Guild, directed stage productions, and starred in numerous television films. Today, at 61, she continues to write, produce, and inspire, showing the same determination that made her a star in childhood. Tori Spelling. Years before Beverly Hills, a 5-year-old Tori Spelling appeared on The Love Boat in 1978 in the episode Crew Confessions, Haven't I Seen You? Reunion. It was one of her very first on-screen appearances, thanks in part to her father, legendary TV producer Aaron Spelling. Her role as Sarah Toomey was small, but it foreshadowed a lifetime in front of the camera. By the 90s, she was a household name as Donna Martin, and later she leaned into reality television and lifestyle projects. Now 52, she remains a fixture in pop culture. At just 17, Lisa Whelchel boarded The Love Boat in 1980, playing Kelly Barrett in the episode The Brotherhood of the Sea, Letter to Baby Cake's Daddy's Pride. It was a fun guest spot, but around that same time she was making television history as Blair Warner on The Facts of Life. That role defined an era of sitcoms and made her one of the most recognizable young stars of the decade. Now at 62, Whelchel continues to inspire with her family-focused and faith-based work, proving that her influence has stretched far beyond the sound stages of the 80s. From teen idol to trusted voice, her journey shows the many lives an actor's career can take. And there you have it, a full cruise of future stars. Some made their TV debuts, others were already on the rise, but all of them left a lasting wake in Hollywood.